everyone, and welcome to the show. Today's a special episode for me and for the channel. In the first year of the Completionist, we were gaining in popularity, but to be honest, we were broke. We participated in this thing called King of the Web, which was a popularity contest where content creators received money for the most votes. And we went big. We decided to stream for 2 weeks straight our entire process of how we make an episode, and we let you fans at home decide what game I'd complete, and we'd make that episode around it. In those weeks of streaming, we completed Diddy Kong Racing for the N64, and then essentially created a whole episode right in front of you guys for those who were willing to watch. The writing, the editing, everything. We had never done anything like that before, but we were the little engine that could. And we went up against some pretty popular YouTubers at the time, and in the end, we ended up winning King of the Web and a prize of $5,000. Half that money went to charity, and the rest went back to the show, shaping it for the many years to come. In honor of that occasion, we did the same thing again, except this time, we gave away $5,000 away to an up-and-coming content creator, someone that we believe in the way that you all believed in me. So thank you for supporting the show, everyone. And today, this episode's for all you at home. Enjoy the show.
And the battle continues!
I like Diddy Kong Racing better than Mario Kart 64!
Not yet.
I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
This could turn it all around! This bout will determine who is the strongest once and for all!
Hello everyone, I'm Gerard the Completionist, and welcome to another episode of the Completionist New Game Plus, where I recomplete the first 120 games I ever featured here on the channel. Today, we are revisiting the classic hit Diddy Kong Racing for the Nintendo 64. You know, the interesting thing about this game is that it's better than Mario Kart 64!
Gerard!
Just saying. Let's start at the beginning and talk about how Diddy Kong Racing came to be. It's rare that a gaming company reaches legendary status, and Rare is a gaming company that reached legendary status. Though their trajectory has seen its share of valleys, their peaks look like Mount Everest after being climbed by Kilimanjaro. And in 1997, amidst the golden era of Rare games, Diddy Kong Racing debuted just in time for Christmas, with overwhelmingly positive reception. The graphics were on point, the soundtrack had jam after jam, and the characters were funny and adorable. And while the similarities to Mario Kart 64 were undeniably present, it handled it in ways that made it feel entirely its own. And by this time, Diddy Kong had reached enough fame that people could get on board with him not only leading his own adventure, but having it completely separate from his uncle Donkey Kong. But Diddy Kong Racing didn't start out as Diddy Kong Racing. Before that, it was supposed to be Pro-Am 64, a follow-up to a Super Nintendo racing game. And before that, it was supposed to be Wild Cartoon Kingdom, where you explore a place akin to Disney World. And before that, it was a real-time strategy game featuring cavemen and time travel. What's crazy is that after learning about these pivots, you can actually see how the previous iterations remain present in the final product. I mean, there's a prehistoric world here and space world there, so yeah. Time travel. The overworld has multiple regions, each with a distinct theme similar to Disney World. And even with its adventure aspect, this game is very clearly a racing game. Yes sir, each previous version is present and accounted for. Actually, Banjo-Kazooie, which was released in 1998, was supposed to be the main Nintendo title for 1997. But when it became obvious that it wasn't going to be ready in time for Christmas, that's when this time-traveling Disney World racing game made its final pivot. Nintendo approached Rare and was like, what else you got? And Rare was like, well, we got this racing game with this dope tiger. And Nintendo was like, well, I don't know who the that tiger is. I don't give a goddamn about that tiger. And Rare was like, did I say tiger? I meant Diddy Kong. And Nintendo was like, hell yeah, I know that guy. So Rare turned Pro-Am 64 into Diddy Kong Racing. They did keep the tiger though, and made him a key part of the story. You ever grow up with that friend whose parents were way too rich and always seemed to be out of town, so you could pretty much just go over to their house whenever you want and do whatever you wanted? Timber the Tiger is that friend. When his parents parents go on holiday, he invites Diddy and a bunch of other friends to come party and race around his island. Oh yeah, his home is an entire island with various distinct realms, and each one somehow has its own climate. It's super bizarre. Anyways, the evil Wizpig sees this as an opportunity to take over the island and control the Guardian in each of the 4 realms. Diddy and his friends must race the island's numerous courses to see who's worthy to challenge each Guardian and earn the piece of the amulet that they possess. Once the heroic racers obtain enough pieces, they're able to face off against Wizpig himself and boot him off the island. And if you've played this game before and are wondering why a lot of this is unfamiliar, they threw a lot of it in the manual. Seems kind of weird now, but as someone who, as a kid, used to read these things cover to cover before starting a game, it worked really well for me. This game has a bunch of adorable characters racing karts around exotic locales. Much like that other game, you pick up items throughout each track to either propel you forward or hinder your opponents, much like that other game. And there are ways to hop and drift around sharp turns. You can drive through bright markers that boost you forward, and hitting the gas at just the right time before the race starts gives you a nice little head start, much like that other game. Like I said, the similarities are undeniable, but you get so much more with this game. Winning races earns you gold balloons, which are required to access new tracks. Collecting bananas along each track increases your top speed. There's the coin challenge you have to unlock in order to earn even more golden balloons and access the trophy races. And each world has a key hidden in one of its tracks that unlocks a battle arena. Oh, and you know why they didn't just call the game Diddy Kart? It's because you can drive hovercrafts and fly airplanes as well. All 3 of these vehicles feel totally unique from each other. Although the car has a decent amount of control, the hovercraft is much more difficult to steer and requires hopping to change direction on a dime. The plane literally takes you to new heights and gives you the abilities to barrel roll and loop-de-loop. Both of these maneuvers are clutch for grabbing items just out of reach. And having these 3 vehicles means that you're not just beholden to a traditional asphalt track. That's right, sea, sky, land, and lava. Diddy and his pals can conquer them all. Speaking of conquer, it's worth noting that Diddy Kong Racing debuted multiple characters that would then be featured in other Rare titles. This is the first time we see Conker the Squirrel well before that very bad day he's known for. And even though Banjo-Kazooie was already in development, Banjo the Bear makes his first appearance in this game along with Tip Top the Turtle, who would also appear in 2 of the Banjo-Kazooie games. Though not featured in other games, Crunch the Kremling had designs that would carry over into Donkey Kong 64, and Prince Tricky from Star Fox Adventures is based on the Guardian Tricky the Triceratops. Diddy Kong Racing truly was the starting point that allowed multiple characters to race off into careers of their own. Now there is the Nintendo DS version of Diddy Kong Racing, but because of Rare's acquisition by Microsoft, what I'm assuming were character copyright issues, Banjo and Conker were replaced by Dixie Kong and Tiny Kong. As far as replacements go, this wasn't such a bad idea as it brought back familiar characters and gave Pipsy the Mouse relief from doing all the heavy lifting as the game's sole female representation. But I stuck with the N64 version because that's what I played it on originally, and the DS version just kinda sucks. It feels hollow compared to the original, and honestly, it's not always an easy time recording off of a Nintendo DS. Last time, this was the game I featured for King of the Web, where I live streamed the whole completion process and episode process for that matter, so it felt like I should do it again. I gave it a rating of finish it because despite enjoying it immensely, it felt like the repetition knocked it back a fair amount. Completion criteria involves racing around each track multiple times, and when you're done with everything, they throw Adventure 2 at you, which requires you to do everything again with mirrored tracks, and the silver coins are scattered differently. Plus, some of TT's time trials required a level of driving perfection that took a while to achieve. So it'll be interesting to see if these setbacks still affect my desire to get to the finish line, or if they are still even setbacks at all this time around. Can I talk about it now?
Yeah, you can talk about it.
Can I talk about how Diddy Kong Racing is better than Mario Kart 64 finally?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Yes.
Okay, you can start talking about it. You can stop savoring and start talking about it. Gerard, this eye contact is intimidating.
Yes. Hey, we're gonna take a quick break from Diddy Kong Racing New Game Plus to do A Gfuel ad? I guess it's Black Friday time, so I should do some kind of character, right, Pat? Right, internet? Oh no, that's too cringy? That's okay, I'll still do it anyways. Gfuel is having a Black Friday special. Right now, it's buy one, get one free. You can use my code in the link down below to purchase your Gfuel. What is Gfuel, you might ask? Gfuel is a great energy supplement you can put in your water, you can put in your milk. There's all different kinds of flavors. Mine personally is still the sour phase berry, although I did really try the new Venom flavor that was limited edition from the Venom 2 movie, and that was actually really, really good. But in any case, if you want to pick up some Gfuel, head over to gfuel.com and use code Completionist on checkout, or you can use the link in the box down below. Remember, it is currently buy one, get one free for Black Friday up until the 30th, which is a Tuesday. So go ahead and pick it up. Thanks for supporting the show, Gfuel, and thank you guys for buying it, because here's the thing. I know everyone likes to poke fun at me for these promotions. You guys actually buy a bunch of Gfuel, and that's why they keep coming back and supporting the show. So without Gfuel, you know, it'd be tough to make this stuff. So we really appreciate Gfuel. Shout out to Gfuel for being so awesome. Thank you so much. And now back to Diddy Kong Racing, which is better than Mario Kart 6. Diddy Kong Racing is better than Mario Kart 64. I know I'm not the first to say it, and I know I won't be the last. Now back the hell off, everyone. I'm not saying Mario Kart 64 is bad. I like Mario Kart 64. Just look at my episode on it if you don't believe me. But all you have to do is type in the two games on Google or YouTube, and you'll find a bunch of others comparing the games and drawing the same conclusion that I have. So let's talk about why this is the case and why I feel the need to add to the noise. First off, story. This game has one. Is it required to make a game good, particularly a racing game? Hell no. Does it help make this game good? Hell yeah. We don't just have a bunch of cute characters racing for whatever. We have a reason. A giant evil wizard pig from outer space has taken over your friend's island. What's great is that even the unlockable character Drumstick is tied into the story. Drumstick was the best racer on the island and was the first to face off against Wizpig, but failed. And as punishment, Wizpig turned Drumstick into a frog. Why did the chicken cross the pig? I don't know, but now he's a frog. Throughout this story, we are introduced to the four guardians of the island: Tricky the Triceratops, Bluey the Walrus, Blubber the Octopus, and Smokey the Dragon. Each one has a distinct personality and, for better or for worse, a pretty interesting voice. The game doesn't give them any backstories, but based on their appearance and voices, I kinda made it my own. Okay, so check it out. Bluey is this old maitre d' in desperate need of retirement. Smokey sounds like a European trying his best to convince you that he's an American. Please, can I have a hamburger? And Tricky sounds like the creepy neighbor who keeps hitting on your mom.
Now try my new challenge. If you beat me again, I'll buy you a pack of smokes. Don't tell your mom.
Getting first place on every track in a given world allows you to race that world's guardian, which brings me to the next reason why Diddy Kong Racing, in my opinion, is better than Mario Kart 64. Boss races. Unlike Mario Kart, this game, well, has them. The concept of boss races was something I'd never even heard of until this game, and they add so much. Not only do you get the unique characters that tie into the story, but racing them is a satisfying culmination to the races you've just won prior. It makes the gameplay much more diverse in a way you wouldn't see in other racing games of the time. Next, I'd like to address how items are obtained and used, and how that affects multiplayer. Super Mario Kart established the item boxes, which would become a staple for the entire franchise. These boxes grant the player a somewhat randomized item. I say somewhat because how good the item is depends on how well you're racing when you hit the item box. It's a built-in handicap where doing well means you'll be getting a weaker item and falling behind means you'll be getting a better one. The strength of the system is that it allows players of various skill levels to still enjoy playing together. In Diddy Kong Racing, however, balloons act similar to the item boxes, except the items are not randomized. The color of the balloon you hit determines the item you get. Red balloon grants you missiles, blue balloon grants you speed boosts, etc, etc. What's great about this system is that it gives the player more control over how they race. Some may choose to go more for the speed boosts granted by the blue balloons, or some may decide to leave oil slick traps granted by green balloons. Furthermore, items in Diddy Kong Racing stack. For example, collecting 1 red balloon grants you a missile, but collecting 2 red balloons grants you a homing missile. And if you go for a 3rd red balloon, you are bestowed a whole barrage of missiles. Stacking items adds to the variety and complexity of the gameplay by offering more options to the player. Do you get those 10 red missiles and then unleash hell for your opponents? Or do you just grab the homing missile and wait just for one of them to cross your way? Do you use that boost from the blue balloon right away, or do you wait to obtain a 2nd blue balloon and get that super boost? The choice is yours. Personally, I much prefer the item mechanics of Diddy Kong Racing. Although the rubber banding mechanics of Mario Kart allow for people of different skill levels to compete on more even ground, Diddy Kong's mechanics are more fair, especially in multiplayer. I glossed over multiplayer in my original episode since there's no completion criteria tied to it, but this time around, discussing multiplayer helps me highlight Diddy Kong's fairness. Some balloons are harder to get to, so it takes skill instead of luck to get your desired item. But what particularly makes Diddy Kong Racing more fair than Mario Kart is that there's no goddamn blue shell. It's rubber banding bullshit. And if my little nephew's in last place and uses a blue shell, it doesn't even help him. It helps my other younger nephew in 2nd place when I'm in 1st place and beat me at the last second. Okay, yeah, I'm teaching them well. That's not happening on Diddy Kong's watch. While some of these tracks are a little hard, I like knowing that if I lose, luck has nothing to do with it. It's entirely on me. I just need to strap in and get good, which, lo and behold, happened way faster now that I am a much more experienced player. In fact, this was so much easier this time around for me. Nothing was very difficult at all. There are more levels, more ways to race those levels, thanks to the 3 types of vehicles in the game, and a few more game modes that require you to fulfill tasks like collecting bananas and hatching dinosaur eggs. Something I forgot from the last time I completed this game was that it's better and more fun to gank the eggs from other people's nests than to try to get new ones. Yeah, f off, those are my dinosaur eggs, bitches! The game cleverly introduces these modes in the single-player adventure by having you find a hidden key in each world to unlock them, and I had a great time with every mode. When the modes are connected like they are in Diddy Kong Racing, it gives me more of a sense of purpose. Diddy Kong Racing doesn't mess around when it comes to its presentation and vibe. Look at all the detail. Look at this water. Look at this space tree. Yeah, even on the 2nd completion, I still can't get over the palm trees in space. Look at these characters that are actually rendered in 3D. These aren't sprites like in Mario Kart. No, they're full 3D models that even have an animation for driving in reverse. Anyone else think this music has no business being this dang good? It's gotta be because of one of my favorite composers of all time, David Wise. David Wise wrote jam after jam for this little cartoon game. One regret I have from the original episode is that I didn't give this soundtrack as much appreciation as I should have. So now I am happy to correct that mistake. The music is not only memorable, but it fits each level it's featured in beautifully. The use of sitars is awesome for moments like when you're talking to Taj the elephant. You know, now that I've recompleted this game and Mario Strikers Charged in the same year, I'm thinking maybe Diddy's theme from Strikers Charged was a reference to the Middle Eastern Southern Asian music from this game. Honestly, David Wise put in more effort than he probably needed to. It's not like kids were buying this game because they wanted to hear something snappy. This soundtrack is like John Goodman's performance in the live-action Flintstones movie. All he needed to do was wear the orange outfit and shout, "Wilma!" But he made Fred Flintstone a deep, relatable, well-rounded everyman because he doesn't know how to not crush a roll. I have to say, with the copious amounts of repetition in this game, having something great to listen to really helps. Even TT's theme slaps, and it's a shame that you don't have a reason to talk to him for more than a few seconds. I had to just sit and do nothing for a bit in order to hear it play out, and it doesn't hurt that this and other songs sound kind of familiar. Celebrate good times, come on! It's a beautiful sight and it's happened tonight, and that's how they became the Brady Bunch. So now that I've talked about how Diddy Kong Racing surpasses Mario Kart 64 in story, gameplay, graphics, and music, I'll finally tell you why I think it's important to add my voice to the others who say this game is better. Well, let's be honest, this game would not exist if it wasn't for the other game. But the main reason why I feel the need to hammer this already hammered nail is that people still consider Mario Kart 64 to this day to be the quintessential Nintendo 64 racing game. And I get it, Mario Kart has Mario in it. In popularity contests, he's going to win every time. Hell, Mario Kart even has the more popular Kong in it. I don't know how many times I've heard, I'm not really into video games, but I can kick your ass in Mario Kart 64, and then I smile at how dead wrong they are and carry on with my day. Nostalgia's one hell of a drug, folks. Furthermore, I don't know if I can say that Diddy Kong Racing is the quintessential N64 racing game. All I am saying is that it deserves the moniker way more than Mario Kart 64 does. And if I can get just a handful of you precious people out there to jump on the Diddy Kong Racing is better bandwagon with me, then I'll consider my ranting and raving worth it. When comparing my completion process to last time, things have definitely changed. It was not the uphill grind I remember it being. I was able to appreciate how all of the criteria are interconnected. So let's dig into what we did. We got all of the balloons from winning races and found the few hidden around the island. We got the Whizpig amulet pieces by defeating the 4 bosses and the TT amulet pieces by beating the 4 challenge stages. We also got 4 trophies for winning each of the world's trophy races, where you race all of the tracks in a single world in succession, similar to that of a Mario Kart Cup race. Now, what do you get for doing all of that? Well, here's how I see it. You get to finish the game. Not complete it, finish it. Sure, you get the game end credits when you beat Whizpig that first time, but it's followed by this scene of him breaking up your beach party before boarding his spaceship. Having the 4 trophies allows you to board the spaceship yourself and play the final world, Future Funland, which culminates in the final showdown with Whizpig. People may feel differently, but I don't consider this final world to be a reward for beating the game, even though it takes place after the credits. The first victory against Whizpig feels hollow, and there's so much more game left afterwards that I simply see this 5th world as the last part of the game. I mean, everything you've done so far has led up to this. The balloons, the amulets, the trophies, you'll need them all to make it to the finish line, which means the only real reward you get for defeating Whizpig again is the unlocking of Adventure 2. Now, to be clear, Adventure 2 is the exact same game again, only everything is flipped. The coin locations are also changed up from the first time through. So yay, you get the chance to do everything again. But that aside, something I was able to appreciate more with this go-around of Diddy Kong Racing was the path towards completion. Again, so much is interconnected. The game forces you to clean up the completion criteria as you progress. You can't access new levels until you get more balloons. You can't get more balloons without unlocking the coin races. You can't unlock the coin races without beating a boss. Sure, you can abandon trophy races and knock them out later, but it's also enticing to do it right there when you unlock them, especially since you've just raced those tracks. You don't need to get the key to unlock the challenge modes right away, but doesn't that cutscene of the door being unlocked just make you want to go there immediately? And you know what? It's more fun that way. Completing everything in a single world before moving on to the next one prevents the game from getting stale, as it's constantly switching you between different modes. It also prevents you from trying to knock out too much too fast. If the coins were present in each track the first time you play them, I'd be tempted to go for them right away. Instead, the game makes you simply race the tracks first and familiarize yourself with them. Now, this is all a very roundabout way of saying there isn't much of a reward for completion besides the opportunity to make it to the end. But as I reflect on the even progression the game took me through, I wonder why I didn't appreciate it as much in my original episode. Well, there is one piece of completion criteria that I haven't discussed, and that's TT's time trials. The character, TT the Clock, which stands for TikTok. Unlike the other criteria, these trials don't affect your progression through this adventure mode. Racing a track under a certain time allows you to race against a ghost version of TT in that same track. TT is a zippy little bastard, so this was particularly challenging on certain tracks. Some require the player to hit every boost perfectly, collect as many bananas as possible early on. A few of those races wore me down. They basically required me to memorize certain levels, and that took time. And I want to say that that's the reason why I didn't appreciate the game's flow on my original completion. Here's the thing though, I am better now. I am really good at this game, you guys. These races weren't as hard. I would dare say that these were pretty easy. Sure, some still took me a few tries, but now my pal Tip Top and I are racing masters and breeze through them way faster than before. When every time trial is accomplished, you are rewarded with the carefree little prick himself, TT, as a playable character. I don't know, something about his tone, so chipper yet so matter of fact, makes me feel like he could get away with murder.
Drop the knife and step away from the body, kid.
It's okay, I'm TT.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know.
This guy is fast, and as much as I complained about having to do everything again in Adventure 2, having TT makes it so much easier. And I guess since the process of unlocking TT wasn't so bad this time around, I didn't mind Adventure 2 as much either. Funny how having an overall better grip on the game makes it more fun. The only other unlockable character is the one I mentioned earlier at the beginning. After winning all 4 trophies, explore the island and bump into the frog with the rooster comb on its head. Congrats, you've now unlocked Drumstick from his frog form. And in the early days, long before the internet became anywhere near what it is now, I remember having to hear about this unlock from a friend who just ran into the right frog by accident. This is a far more clever way of unlocking a character than, hey, just win races. As mundane as it seems to run over a frog, I like that it ties into the narrative. Plus, he's the fastest character in an airplane, so that's also cool. I feel like much of this game's content could have been finagled into various completion rewards, but I don't think that would have made the game that much better. I much prefer the decision the developers made to throw everything into adventure mode and have it all necessary to make it to the second battle with Wizpig. The journey made that final pass across the finish line super satisfying. And it didn't hurt that I came from behind and beat the guy by a freaking nose. What a way to end this adventure, huh?
Oh my god! Oh my god.
Alright, so let's do our breakdown. Keep in mind, most of these numbers are doubled because of Adventure 2, so here we go. In my journey of recompleting Diddy Kong Racing, there were 94 balloons collected, 47 gold ones from the first adventure mode, and 47 silver from Adventure 2, 40 tracks unlocked, 8 Wizpig amulet pieces obtained from beating the 4 bosses, 10 trophies earned from the trophy races, 8 TT amulet pieces obtained from beating the challenge stages, 20 of TT's time trials beaten with much more ease than the first time completing this game, 2 characters unlocked. Both were a nice asset for plowing through Adventure 2 mode. 15 hours played, easy enough to knock out in 2 days. And a 50-foot restraining order for my family that I had to put on Tricky the Triceratops. I don't care who the hell you are, Tricky, you are not my dad.
Well done, kid. Now shut up and take out the trash.
I was expecting my recompletion of Diddy Kong Racing to be way more grueling than it was. I struggled with it when I was a kid, and now that I'm an adult who's played this game a lot, I struggled with it a little bit more. As much as Diddy Kong Racing was designed and marketed for kids, there's a challenge here that is fully grown. But here's the deal. You, my friends, are looking at a fully grown man. And I was more prepared this time around to meet that challenge. And please, 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 do not mistake my comparisons here to Mario Kart 64 as me trashing Mario Kart 64. I like that game a lot. It's fine. We needed it as a platform to jump forward to the newer, more awesome racing games that are out there. And Diddy Kong Racing is that. It's way better. And if the rumors are to be believed, we should be getting a Switch port in the near future.
That's not a rumor. We're not getting a Switch port.
Maybe then people will see how good Diddy Kong Racing actually is. Maybe then it'll get the recognition it deserves because of said Switch port.
Nope, not Switch port, not NSO, not a thing.
Let's be honest. I get the feeling that we won't get that port. But I hope so one day. Son of a bitch. One last ride. So, with that in mind, guys, I give Diddy Kong Racing for the N64 my new completionist rating of